continuing with the differential housing and axle restoration. From the last video, I've removed the centres, as you can see here, it's not there, cleaned it all up. I've replaced the seal on the actual differentials in the front here. You see that on the previous video. So now what I'm going to do is put the diff centre back into the housing and then paint the lot. So I've got the gaskets, so I'll put that in there. I'm going to use a bit of RTV on both sides of the gasket as well, and just effectively drop that in there, and then once I've done that I'll paint it. So this is the front unit, the front diff unit, so I'll put that in. The only thing I've got left to do really is to clean the this surface here. So I've cleaned the surfaces on the axle housing itself, but I'll do it on here, so that gives a chance for the, you can see it's all oily, for the RTV to work and do its thing. Nice and clean. So happy with that. And I've also cleaned the mating surface here on the housing. So next step is to firstly fit the paper gasket to make sure it actually does fit, because I have one already, and would you believe it, it doesn't align to the holes. So I'm just going to double check the other ones, and once that's done then I'll put the RTV and yeah, put it together. Right, so the gasket, it only can fit one way, so we'll give it a go. Of course that's not helping, is it, when I try to do it with one hand? Cool, and you can see that fits nicely there. If I grab the other one, so this is the other one that I had, and if I try to fit it, you can see already there, it's not really fitting in there. You can see how the bottom here doesn't fit. So yeah, it's not, doesn't help when gaskets don't fit. So that one's pretty much rubbish. Right, so with this one here now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply the silicone on the surfaces, not on the gasket itself, and try not to make a mess, because I mean I will probably end up getting some of the silicone, or should I say RTV, onto the threads, so I'll clean those off before I start tightening the bolts in. So I'm just using a standard high temp RTV silicone gasket maker. Okay. I'm just being cautious about how much I'll put in there, because I don't want to leave too much of a high spot, and I don't want too much of the RTV to start encroaching on the inner lip. And so by doing it this way, I'm minimising the mess, but you're still going to get a mess anyway, unfortunately. That's what I'm doing. Now comes the fun part. So it's just a matter of wiggling that into place slowly, and we should be able to get that in. Alright, so you record the two pins, one there and one there. That's where the little tight spot is. Alright, so just having a bit of a quick look, and it looks to be seated all nicely around. So now it's time to clean up the threads quickly and then start tightening it down a bit. Alright, so I've just cleaned up all the nuts and spring washers, just to make sure that they're not going to bind in any way. I just put these in, and then should be able to torque them down. Right, so I've just finished torquing that up. Refer to your manual, of course. Now I'm just going to clean up the excess here. And then I think pretty much we're ready to give it one more clean up all over before I start putting the undercoat on. Right, so I've gave it a good clean. What I might do is I might actually wait till the RTV sets before I start to paint it, just so that I'm not painting over it while it's still trying to fully cure. But everything else seems to be pretty much ready to go. I've cleaned everything else up, so quite happy. Prior to painting, I'll remove the plugs, but effectively it's ready for an undercoat. So finally done. Both diff centers are back in. So obviously using the paper gasket and the RTV sealant. So really happy with that. Now I'm not sure whether or not to actually paint this yet, or wait till I've actually got the entire assembly together. I think I'll probably do that, and then I can paint it as an entire unit. But needless to say, I've been stoked with progress, although I did have quite a few weeks off recently. Had so much other stuff on at the moment, but anyway, the other thing I took care of as well was this. You can hear the ball in there. Now I'm actually thinking that, I mean, I'll probably put this in initially, but what I might do is change it over to the to a 90-degree copper hose, and then run a breather up into the engine bay or something like that, because what I don't understand how this kind of works is the ball in there obviously lifts the unit up, or lifts the ball up under pressure when this gets hot, and as it cools down the ball drops and creates a vacuum. Now my concern is, because it does that, how does the air repressurize if it's not coming back in through the breather? I can only imagine that it's going to be trying to force itself in through the seals, through the hub seals, which of course, that's the whole point of having a breather, is to prevent stuff from coming in. So I'm not too sure why this design is effectively a one-way valve. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll stop the video here, because it's actually quite a lengthy one. But you can see here that it's all prepped, it's all been cleaned, not completely sanded or grounded back to. You can see there's still some left over, but this all here will be fine and for an undercoat, and so I'm quite happy with that result. So what I'll do is I'll leave it at that, and as always, thanks for watching, and catch you another time.